Hey everyone, welcome back to Unicorn Dust Designs. My name is Sammy. Welcome. Today I am doing a compilation video of past Iron Orchid Designs DIYs. So if you've been wanting to try transfers, stamps, molds, any of those things, then stay tuned because there are going to be a ton of them in this video. Let's start watching. I've had these ceramic coasters for quite some time, so they had a little bit of marks on them. So I decided to go in with Cashew by Waverly. I coat the fronts and then I coat the sides. I do not worry about the bottoms of these. I'm going to go ahead and let those dry. Then I am going to take our stamps. So these stamps, you have to rough them up with 220 grit sandpaper. They say to do this so they don't like slide around on you. And then I'm going to take my ink pad. So the ink pad, this is the easiest way I've found to put the ink onto the stamp. You can see that it is on like a clear film. This helps you hold the piece and it also helps you identify what stamp is what. So as you can see, look at how pretty that is. I am at all times holding the stamp down with one hand while the other hand is kind of like rubbing it in here. And right here you can see I am just cleaning it off with a baby wipe and then setting it to the side to dry. So again, applying our ink right there. I'm holding it with one hand, pressing it down with the other, and then I'll alternate hands and do the same thing. And then I will go ahead and I will pick it up. Look at how cute those are. I love them. And then of course, I'm going to clean everyone off as I go. Sorry, you guys. These are the IOD ink pads. So you can get these as well. You could also get the ink in different colors. And yeah, I was really impressed. I was really excited to use them. I thought that they were very easy to use. I mean, of course, I'm doing this on a flat surface, so they're easy, but the outcome, y'all, is absolutely beautiful. So after those dry, I let them dry overnight. Again, this is my first time using them, so I didn't know how long to let the ink dry. So now I'm taking Antique Wax by Waverly. I'm going to do the edges and then I kind of rub it in to the inside, like onto the graphic. I'm just trying to give all of these, you'll see, are going to be like kind of shabby chic. I wanted them to look super old and worn, almost like the paint was starting to discolor over time, you know? So this is just a stencil brush from Dollar Tree. I am just using a paper towel and I am giving them a good coat on these sides. As you can see, I apply it to the sides too because we don't want those sides bright. That would look weird. All right. So after I'm done, or what am I doing? Let's see, I'm showing you more of this because I don't think you get the point. Okay, so I just wanted to show you this. So IOD stamp pads come blank, and then you can purchase any color ink you want. So I'm using stone gray, and then I forgot what the blue is called, you guys. I'll look it up. I'll look on the ink. And then they have black. So right here, I'm filling the stone gray and the blue pad up. So you don't just have to be stuck with black ink. You can use all different colors. I've seen people even use like chalk paint on them. So I just wanted to show you, this is how you fill up your ink pads. Now that I am done with the antique wax, I let them dry. Apply some polyacrylic to these. These polyacrylic is food safe. Not that you're going to be using this with food, but I just wanted to make sure to have a protective coat over the ink in case a drink sweats or whatever. And this ink wasn't moving anywhere once I applied the clear. Like it did not smear or go anywhere. So I was really happy with that. I'm going to apply that to all 4 of our coasters. I did do 2 coats on each. And y'all, that is all for these coasters. Look at how beautiful these turned out. Look at how detailed these stamps are. These come in with 12 different stamps on them, y'all. Like, I was so impressed with how these turned out. Let me know what you think about them down in the comments. All right, our last piece. I am using this crockery. I got it from the Goodwill for $4.99. I sprayed it with clear matte spray paint outside. I just find that chalk paint, any paint, adheres better when like glass has something on it. That's just to each their own. Anywho, all right, so I put the painter's tape on the inside because I didn't want to paint the inside of the crockery. So I used that as like the guide, a blocker, blip, 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 blip. Anyways, I'm a mess. So I took my Moss chalk paint, mixed it with a little bit of baking soda, taking my chip brush. I'm going to go over my crockery one time. That is why I love this mixture, because it is full coverage. And then of course I love how it looks afterwards. But I'm going to finish this up. Then we are going to grab, and then I use my heat gun to dry it. It dries totally fine like that. And then I'm going to use my IOD molds and my air dry clay. So you guys have seen me do this a bunch of times now. I put some cornstarch in my molds. These are also, again, from IOD. And then I am going to rub our clay inside. And you guys, I've learned, if like the older the clay is, it makes it really hard to work with it. And I know a lot of you guys advise me to put like a damp paper towel in there, or you could spritz it with water, but I still feel like it's not the same as when you open like a fresh package. But anywho, I am going to take this out of the mold. I just flip it on over and then peel it out. There we go. And then I'm going to paint this in the moss green, just trying to make sure that I get in all of those fine details so that we don't have any of the white showing here. And I did make a mistake, but I'm going to tell you guys a little later, okay? After you guys see the mistake, then I'll tell you, just don't do the mistake, all right? Okay. So after the paint dries, I am going to take my mold and I'm going to take my Star Bond thick super glue adhesive. Now I've seen people use Type Bond, wood glue, Gorilla Glue. I've seen all different adhesives. So you don't have to have this one to attach the mold. So after I'm done with the mold, I'm like, ooh, we need to fancify this. So I am going to grab my Arteza mica powders. So just off Arteza's website, or I believe they sell them on Amazon too. I'll try linking them in my Amazon. Oh no, sorry. First I white waxed it, of course. And just so you know, white wax is also your sealer. So after you apply the wax, you do not need to take it outside and seal it with anything. I also hit the frame because I need that mica powder to be able to stick to something. So now I'm going to take that mica powder. This is in bronze. I'm just going to put it on my finger and rub it around that frame. And oh my word, does this take it up a notch, let me tell you. And I have the big pack of mica powders. They come in so many colors. All right. So after I'm done putting a nice little coat on there, now, my mistake, y'all. So, I have to say that I should have done the mold, applied it to the white crock first, and then painted over it. Because I let this set up overnight. Well, when I came back down to finish this, the frame had detached from the crockery, and I have a feeling that's because of my textured paint, because the paint came with it. So I believe what I should have done was attach the frame to the white crockery and then painted the frame and the crockery at the same time, and that wouldn't have happened. So do as I say, not as I do. Anywho, now we are taking a graphic from Graphics Fairy. I did resize this in Canva, so I will link that down below for you. I am putting some Mod Podge on the crockery itself. I put a very light coat on the back of the image, And then I'm just going to smooth that down. I had a little bit extra, so I just pushed that down in the corners there. Love this image. And a lot of the images from Graphic Fairy are absolutely free, like majority of them are. So I will leave that link down below as well. Then I just put the Mod Podge over to seal in this paper, and look at how gorga. It just blows my mind, you guys. We took a plain white crockery and turned it into this vintage, stunning piece. And I love it. And now it's like I could resell these pieces in my booth and they'll find a new home and make somebody so happy. So you guys, everybody has like some kind of pots in their house, the terracotta pots. I actually found this one at a thrift store, and it was the Hearth and Hands. You know, Joanna Gaines brand. Yeah, I found this at the thrift store. So I wanted to update it just a little bit. So I cleaned off the pot itself, took the sticker off. Well, then I noticed it had the weirdest bright like leaves in a few spots, almost like they were like bleached by the sun. I don't know. There's like 3 of them. So I took those off, move around the leaves, make it look, nicer, clean the leaves off, all of that stuff. I know you guys have a pot you can do this with, okay? So after I'm done with all of that, I'm going to grab white wax by DIY. I get this from my girl upcycledbybrie.com. I will leave her link down in the description box for you. And I am taking my wax brush by Waverly, and you'll see I'm rubbing this in with my brush, and then I do this by sections. Then I get my paper towel, and I'm just I'm taking the excess off, okay? That's what I'm doing here. You can mix this with clear wax, and it could be even lighter, so that's another option if you don't like this so white like I'm doing. But I'm going to do this all the way around our pot. I love the way that this comes out, by the way. And this one, you guys, I attempt with the stamp on the plastic backing. You'll see what I mean later in the video, but people say that it's really hard to apply these to rounded surfaces, which IOD on YouTube does do great tutorials on it. I will leave their channel link down in the description box for you. And although I didn't get it perfect, I still think it looked good because it came out, like distressed, old, like the label was, wearing off of the pot. So although it didn't completely turn up, I was really happy with the way that it looked. It just updated this pot so much for me, and it's definitely staying in my house. Going to be these beautiful pieces that when Goodwill was Salvation Army was inexpensive. These both were $1.99 each, and they are so heavy. So I didn't want to put these in the sink because I don't know why. I felt maybe they would rust. I don't know. So I just took a baby wipe, and I'm going to clean the whole thing, and these things definitely needed to be cleaned. Then I'm going to grab my shellac. If you guys are someone that likes to repurpose things, definitely grab the spray shellac. This is going to block any of the stains that come through with like oils and wood and all that stuff. So after I spray it, I just wanted to show you it does come out glossy, but it dries super fast. So now I'm taking a new color, Coastal Blue by Rust-Oleum. I've been getting mine either on Amazon when I can't find it or Walmart. Walmart has actually had better prices than Menards lately on the chalk paint. So that's where I've been getting mine. I'm going to use a chippy brush, and I am going to do 2 coats of this. So I like to use the chippy brush, as I've mentioned in previous videos, because I like that the bristles get in all of the little like details. I just find that it works a lot easier. And I also like, I'm drawing a blank, you guys. Pregnancy brain. Moving on. Okay, so I'll do 1 coat of this. Then I will go back after I dry it, and then I'm going to do a stippling effect. So I like doing this on my chalk paint because I find that it gives it just a little texture. It also makes it look like we've done like the baking soda and chalk paint mixture, like a kind of like a faux cement look. And by stippling, if you don't know what that means, is I'm just pouncing my paintbrush up and down on the surface. And again, we're using the chip brush for this. You could also use chalk paint brushes. You do you. So after that dries, I just wanted to show you, I do this one, but it's the same thing, so I didn't want to repeat. But if you guys get any chalk paint where you don't want it, I didn't want to paint on the inside or underneath this, so I just grabbed a baby wipe and I am going to wipe it down. And even if it's dry, it will come off because it is water based. So I just wanted to share this tip with you because I thought, you know, a lot of people probably get a little bit messy, and chalk paint is definitely something that you can clean up with like a paper towel and water. We got the tornado sirens going off. It's a drill, don't worry. All right, so after I wipe all of that off, I took these outside, sprayed them with clear matte by Rust-Oleum. And the reason I did that is because when using IOD transfers, they do recommend that you put a clear coat on first. And these birds, you guys, are gorgeous. I get my transfers from Vonda over at thepaintedheirloom.com. I will attach her link down below. And I am taking my Cricut scraper here, and we are just going to rub down on this transfer. Now, I like to pick my clear film up as I go. That way I know if my image is adhering, and if it's not, I just put it back down, rub a little bit more, and you're going to repeat that process until you go all the way to the other side. But these transfers, you guys, it's crazy how you can transform something with these beautiful images, and they have so many. All right, I'm gonna stop this real quick. You guys, the sirens have stopped. Okay, so now I'm gonna burnish this. So I'm just taking a little bit of that clear paper that came on the top of it, and I'm just rubbing this over our image. You can also do this with like a microfiber towel as well, and it just helps, you know, make sure that it's in there properly, and that the like clear film around it doesn't show. So now I'm taking my DIY white wax, again with a chip brush, and I'm going to rub that all over this tray. And I also do the same thing to the other like bucket that I was doing. And I love how this changes the whole look of the tray. And I do want to mention that DIY wax and Waverly wax is more of like a runny consistency where you have to go back and pat dry it with a paper towel. DIY wax has more of like a buttery consistency where you don't have to go back and wipe it down. So that's why I tend to grab this instead of my Waverly wax. So after that's done, you guys, we are done with these pieces, and look at how beautiful. You guys, it blows my mind what we can do with thrifted items, and how these were black and orange and not very 2022, and now they look absolutely gorgeous, and anybody would be proud to put these in their home. I love how that white wax just makes everything pop. Absolutely beautiful. So because everybody was saying it was so hard to transfer these onto rounded surfaces, I decided I would try the tissue paper technique. So all you do is take white tissue paper, or you can take any color you want, and you are going to apply your stamps to the tissue paper. Now, I let mine set overnight for 24 hours, or just overnight. I don't know how long it was, because I wasn't sure about like how long you should wait, because I didn't want them obviously to smear. I've heard people say 30 minutes. I've heard people say you could spritz them with hairspray. So you do you. I let it dry overnight. Okay, so now I am taking some Rust-Oleum chalk paint. We are going to do our like kind of faux concrete. We could just call it like textured paint. That's what we'll call it. And I'm taking my chalk paint, I'm taking my baking soda, and just remember, the more baking soda you put in, the more texture you are going to get. So I ended up spray painting all of my pieces white. I did this because some of them were in color. And you also want to coat them with something so that you have something for the paint to attach to. So usually I use like clear Rust-Oleum or clear Krylon, and then I will put my mixture on here. So I do 2 coats, letting it dry in between coats. After I am done painting all of my containers, I then, okay, you guys, so I tried this out and I thought it was so cool. So everybody said it was so hard to put these on rounded surfaces. So I said, you know what? I'm going to tape this stamp down on my mat, and then I'm going to try rolling this, okay? So right here, I'm like, ooh, is it going to work? Okay, so then I apply the ink, and you can see like the stamp ain't going nowhere. So I just have to make sure that I have a lot of control over how I'm rolling my glass piece. So you guys, I just roll it over, and this turns out so good. Look at that. It turned out like perfect. So I was like, yes, ma'am, I'm gonna do that again. Okay, but we had all these other pieces, so let's try it. So I'm taking water on a paintbrush. Crafted by Corey actually does this very often, so I thought, you know what, I'll try it. So she puts it around I put it around the stamp. And then this helps just kind of tear out your image without, one, if you use scissors, you'd have like some clean cuts, but I didn't want clean cuts. And I also didn't want to rip my stamp. So coating it with water around it helps you tear it easy. And then you get like those little, like the tear look. That did not sound right. Okay. So now we're going to apply it to our bottle. I'm going to take some Mod Podge. I am going to apply that to the back of the tissue paper. Then I'm going to set it on my piece, my glass piece right here, rub that in. Now I'm going to take the Mod Podge, and I'm only putting it over my stamp. I am not going to rub it like all messy and try to coat it, because we all know, even though Mod Podge says matte, it doesn't come out matte. There's always kind of like some sheen to it. So I am focusing on just covering the stamp itself. So again, do the same thing with all of my bottles. Apply Mod Podge to the back of the tissue paper, and then only to the front of the stamp itself, nothing more. All right, so after I'm done doing this one I think ended up being my favorite. I'm not sure. It was like a kitchen utensil holder thing. But again, doing the same thing. I thought, you guys, these are so fun. Let me know in the comments what you think about all these stamps. And there's so much more. This is just what I could get done. That's why this video is so long, because I wanted to show you everything. All right, now taking Antique Wax by Waverly and my stencil brush, I'm going to go around my stamp here, and I'm kind of going heavy with this. Then I'm going to take my a paper towel, and I'm basically, I guess, rubbing it in. I mean, you could say rubbing it off, but it's more like rubbing it in. Then with whatever excess I have on my brush, I am going to dry brush that on. Like seriously, it's the lightest coat you can have on here. I just wanted it all to look cohesive. So you guys, I'm going to show you what I did with each one of the jars, and then show you the final look at the end. So with our next one, I am just taking the antique wax and I am placing it on the bottom. Again, I'm doing a heavier coat here all the way around. Then I'll take my paper towel and I'll rub that in. Now I've seen people like mix the antique wax with water and do this. You can use really any color wax that you want, because you can mix wax with any color. All right, then again, taking and dry brushing all around so it's cohesive. For this next one, I am hitting every part of the raised glass with heavy antique wax, okay? And then I will rub it down with the paper towel. And the reason I did this is because I want all of the details of my glass pieces to really pop out at you. So you'll see anywhere that the glass is raised is where I'm hitting it really hard with that antique wax. Now this is just my preference, but I think it really turned out looking good. And then everything in between, I just kind of dry brushed and rubbed in with my paper towel. Now this one, you guys, turned out so good. So again, taking the antique wax, I'm using the remainder of whatever's on the brush to do like the in-between surfaces. I rub it off. I know it's very repetitive, but I felt the need to show you this one because it looked so darn cool. So I'm going to continue to do that around the bottom of the bottle. And then when I get to the middle of the bottle is when I'm like, oh man, this is coming together real good. So you could see any of the raised edges on this glass vase, I don't even know what this is, bottle, is where I hit heavy, and then I go in with like the excess and I rub it in. But you can see how it starts framing out this bottle and just really making that label pop out at you. And you guys, this is how all of them turned out. Let me know which one out of the 4 of these are your favorite. So that one on the left was done with gray, the blue, and then the 2 in the back, I believe, are with the black ink, but they all tell their own little story. I absolutely love them. You guys, remember, Vonda's website for these stamps will be down in the description box as well.
So I picked this up across the street at my neighbor's garage sale. It was $2. It looked like she had hand painted it, but then I realized it was definitely spray paint as I looked on the bottom. But either way, I was loving this chippy, messy look. I saw the yellow and thought fall. So I'm going to take this outside and I'm going to thoroughly clean it. It had like dog hair everywhere. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to take out my IOD transfers, and these are absolutely stunning. You guys, I think it was in this book, you get 38 transfers. You divide that by the cost, which is 21 bucks. These are 55 cents each. So although you may think like, yes, they are pricier, if you break the price down, it's really not that expensive. So keep that in mind as I'm showing you these transfers. So I pick out the transfer that I want. We're going to take the carrier sheet off. And the transfers have a little bit of tack to them. So you could see as I push it down in the middle, it like sticks to my surface. And then I'm just going to cut around my little knob so that I could get this to lay flat. And then I'm going to move my transfer because I decided I wanted the placement a little bit differently. Now I'm going to take, you can take this little plastic thing which comes with it, or you can take like a library card, doesn't matter. And what you're going to do is you're rubbing down on the carrier sheet. And I will say this, if you freshly paint something, you need to clear it with like a polyacrylic and then put your transfer on top. If you put this directly onto paint, then you're going to pill your paint up with your transfer. I thought, okay, this is painted, it's cleared, but I was having a little trouble getting the transfer on there. But then I started, look at how I'm like pulling up the transfer and then rubbing on it. This worked like a charm. Is that even a saying? I don't know, but it worked. So try that out next time. And I'm just going to continue this all the way down. And you guys, now I'm going to burnish it. This is so pretty. And burnishing is basically I'm rubbing the transfer with that carrier sheet to make sure that it is adhered to my surface and on there really well. Now I'll take water-based, sorry, that was Hank, polyacrylic, and I'm going to seal this image into, I'm calling this a book rack because I would put books in here, not magazines. So I'm going to clear that so our transfer does not go anywhere. I will let that dry, and then I am going to go ahead and flip this around. Now, there wasn't 2 of the same images, which was totally okay. I found this one and the roses and everything matched the other image so well that this is the one I decided on. So this book comes with like large transfers, medium transfers, and small transfers. So it's a nice collection of them. And again, I am just rubbing these down. These have so much detail, and it really is an easy way of taking any kind of home decor item and making it new and fresh. I'm definitely going to be putting this in my booth. I just don't have anywhere to put it in my home, and it doesn't fit with like my current style. But I will be displaying this with some books and some roses. And you guys, this cost me $2. Plus, if we calculated the transfers at 55 cents each, it would be like $3.50, I'll say. And I will put this in my booth for $40. And I think if you have a booth or if you are trying to sell, you just have to gauge your audience and what they are willing to spend, what you think your time is valued at, and then play around with pricing, because, you know, some booths you have to go lower in price, some booths things will sell for a higher price. So just take mine with a grain of salt and price them whatever you think that your audience is going to bite at, I guess you can say. Look at the detail in that, you guys. Ooh, I love this. I love this.
All right, you guys. So in this video, there are going to be kind of seasonal DIYs, but I still wanted to show them because you can take those DIYs and use them for everyday decor or other seasonal decor. You know, use them to your preference. I just wanted them to be pieces to inspire you and show you what you can do. If you guys are interested in more of the molds, I started playing around with the molds more during Christmas time. So definitely venture into my Christmas DIY videos to kind of get an idea of how to use them and have fun with this stuff. I also want to note that I know not everybody can afford the Iron Orchid Designs products. I understand that, but there are also other versions. You can shop on Amazon. You can find transfers all over Amazon. You can find stamps on Amazon, and you can find molds on Amazon. So there are other alternatives to the IOD products. This is just what I have been using and loving, and it is definitely worth the investment because they go a long way. And I get my products from Vonda over at paintedheirloom.com. Her link is always in my description box, and she does give first-time customers a discount, and that code is also in the description box for you guys. So I hope you guys are getting inspired. These behind me are in a newer video, so go ahead and check out my channel. All of my links are down in the description box for you, and I hope you guys are enjoying. I will be back with a brand new video on January 7th. I am going to be using this video and next Tuesday's video as recycled content, just so that I can try and get ahead of my organizing my craft room since we moved in almost 2 months ago. So I'm going to use that time to get myself together. So I appreciate all of you that stick around and watch the content that you've already seen. And for somebody that's maybe popping in for the first time, thank you. I know these videos are long, so I appreciate you guys watching. And with that said, you guys, let's go ahead and hop into the rest of these IOD DIYs. One of these eggs from Dollar Tree, I am going to glue this together. I was watching Overboard while I was making this, and it just made time fly. I love Goldie Hawn. Okay, so we're going to hot glue that together. Now, I'm going to take elephant gray, and I'm going to paint elephant gray first. And the reason I did this was because I always feel like when you put gray on a bright color and you put white over that, it actually, what am I trying to say? Anyway, so instead of putting like 3 coats of white to cover the pink up, I cover it with gray and then I'll cover it with white. I'm a mess. All right, now taking more Dollar Tree stickers, I am just going to go around. So I'm going on the outside of where the two sides meet. Then I'm going to take another strand of those stickers and do the same thing on the opposite side of the crack. So I was trying my best to cover up the crack, but I wanted like it to be thicker. That's why I chose to do 2 instead of just putting 1 over the line. So next, again, we're using beadboard and that wax for everything here. So I am going to cover the Easter egg, and then I cover the base of my candlestick Only doing one coat because again, I'm not scared if a little bit of that gray comes popping through because I'm going to be using the gray wax anyways. So we're going to go ahead and let that dry. I'm going to take my crockery stamps from IOD. I'm going to apply the IOD ink in black to it. And then I'm going to stamp it onto white tissue paper. Now make sure you have something under that because it will go through and it will stain. So I do that, I cut it out. Unfortunately, y'all, my camera stopped filming when I was actually applying it to the egg. So I'm going to link one of my IOD videos down below so you could see how to apply a tissue paper stamp to a glass piece. So essentially this is what I did, you guys. I applied it, I got that gray wax, went around, and then I hot glued it to my candlestick base. So now to cover where the base and the egg meet, I am going to cut some strips of lace. I'm going to get a couple strips of the twine and I am going to put those around the bottom, tie it in a tight bow, and then you are going to have yourselves this really fancy bougie Easter egg, which I love. And you can see like the tissue paper stamp, it looks seamless. Like you cannot tell. I did cut as close as I could to my image, applied the Mod Podge to the back, and then lightly brushed it on the top to kind of smooth it out. And
All right, now this one I recently found at Savers, and it was $3.99. I cleaned it with one of like the Dollar Tree, what do you call it? The like Mr. Clean eraser thingy-majiggers, but not name brand. Anyways, I cleaned it up and it was the perfect like creamy chiffon color. So I decided to actually leave it as is. I'm taking more of those IOD transfers. You guys, I tried so hard to decoupage. Like I kept looking and looking, but I could not find anything. And I kept going back to these beautiful transfers. So right here, I'm going to lay my transfer on and I'm going to take some painter's tape and I am going to tape this transfer down. Now I did it on both sides initially, but what I do is I'm going to lay it on its side. Sorry, you couldn't see that. And see how I'm lifting? And this one actually went on. I didn't even have to rub down. Look at this. Oh my gosh. This fit perfectly on this coffee pot, you guys. So beautiful. And look, I hardly had to do anything. Now I'm going to take that carrier sheet and again, I'm going to burnish that image on there. So all I'm doing is rubbing in circular motions. You could also do this with like a microfiber cloth as well. And all it's doing is pushing that transfer into your base. I'm going to say a base. Now, once that's done, I do take it out and I clear it with matte clear spray paint by Rust-Oleum. You guys, these florals, if I remember, I'll put the SKU down in the description box. These are at Walmart on clearance for $1. $1. I grabbed as many as I could find. They are stunning. So I cut those down, put those in there. Look at, oh my gosh. Look at how, I mean, the greenery bundle looks upscale to begin with. This coffee pot looks absolutely stunning. The paint, once cleaned, oh my gosh, I love this. So originally $3.99 so I put like $6 into it.
For our next one, we're doing pumpkins. Yes, I know you're probably over pumpkins, but it's my channel, my choice, okay? So I had to do these pumpkins. I had a vision and I was going with it. So I cut these down to size, one smaller, one bigger, hashtag Obby. And I am going to paint the smaller one with Cashew by Waverly. I am going to hit and then the bigger one with White by Waverly. And I do make sure to coat the top, the bottom, the sides, the back, everything, because these are going to be freestanding little pumpkins. After we're done doing that, I go ahead and size up my stamps. And again, you guys, these come with 12 different stamps on them and they're reusable. So it is definitely worth the money because you can use these over and over and over again and in so many different ways. So for this one, I think this was probably my favorite stamp because I feel like I use it a lot. And it's the creamery one, or pure thick cream, it says. And then there's like a picture of a cow on it. All right, then I find a stamp for our white pumpkin here, apply that. I'm just eyeballing all of this and it works. It works for me. All right, so after that's done, we're gonna go ahead and then take, you guessed it, you guys, you're gonna see a trend, antique wax by Waverly, white and cashew in this video. All right, so I hit it with some antique wax, but then I end up going in and giving it a much heavier coat on the tops and the bottoms. And once you get your paper towel and you rub them in, it really looks like distressed wood, like the paint was pulling away from the wood. I loved the look. I did this as well with our small pumpkin too. Did make sure to hit the top just because I wanted it to look cohesive. I love the way these turned out, you guys. These are probably my favorite, and I'm definitely keeping these for myself. Oh, goodness gracious. Anywho, back to the project. Okay, so now that I'm done with that, I grabbed some spindles, I cut them down to size, and these are gonna be our stems. Ah, isn't that so cute? Okay, so I am taking my Surebonder super glue, attaching that to the top. Like I said, you guys, this spindle ain't going nowhere if it drops. So attaching both of those to the top. Then I'm gonna grab some raffia, and with the raffia, I am literally just bundling it together, and then I'm going to take another piece of raffia and tie it in the middle. That's it. I thought I was gonna use the lace for these, but decided against it. All right, so I am just taking that raffia. I'm gonna hot glue it to the front of my spindle. Then what do I do? All right, then I'm going to take these flowers. A lot of the solo wood flowers I was finding at Dollar Tree, but you can use anything you want, you guys. Felt flowers, you could get paper flowers from any of your craft stores. So those are some other options as well. So I attach 2 of those to the top. And then I do the same exact thing for the cashew one. I attach raffia, I find some flowers I want to use, and then I attach those to the front of them as well. You can even use like crystals or pearls would have been so pretty, even in the middle of the flowers. Oh, I might have to add those. And let me show you how these turned out. If you can't hear the smile in my voice, I'm smiling. Look at how gorgeous these turned out. Like the detail of the spindles, it's the little things, you guys, the little things that add so much to a piece. Oh, I love those. I love them. Let me know if you're going to be making some. For this one, we are going to start off with a 6x6 piece of wood. Now, pro tip, measure your wood because a 6x6 actually measures out to be 5.25 by 5.25, sometimes 5.5. And that goes for any size of wood. So when it says like 2x8, things like that, okay? So we're going to take Ballerina Pink by Waverly, and I am going to take my stencil brush from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to give it a messy coat. I'm going to do the front, the back, and the sides. I am going to do the back of this because it will be a freestanding sign, meaning the person will be able to just stand it up and they don't have to hang it on a wall. Of course, you could put a sawtooth hanger on it, but we're not going to need that. So after we're done with this, I'm going to take my IOD stamps. I get these from Vonda at thepaintedheirloom.com. This is a part of their crackle pack. It comes with 4 different crackles in the stamp set. I'm using their stone gray ink pad. Look at how cool that looks. We get the crackle without having to use any of the different mediums. And then I'm going to apply just a little piece on the side. Oh, just that added detail is everything. So after we're done with this, I am going to take my design that I made, and I'm going to take a stencil brush with Elephant Gray by Waverly, and I'm going to stencil that on. Now keep in mind, if you are part of my membership group, then you have access already to all of these Mother's Day designs that I did on the Cricut. So I hope you enjoy them. All right, after that, I am going to do 2 coats of this color here. Once it dries, I will go ahead and peel back that stencil vinyl. This is Aura Mask 813. And look at, ooh, no bleeds. And then I'm just going to weed out all those nooks and crannies of our letters. Now, you can leave it like this, but you guys know I always got to do just a little something extra. So what I'm going to do is take my IOD molds. I'm going to take my air dry clay, and I'm going to dust some cornstarch on there first so we don't have it sticking. And once I do that, let's see, let's get that air dry clay out. You can also use hot glue in your molds as well. So that's also an option. But I'm just going to stick this clay in there, and then I'm just going to rub the excess off to the sides. And this mold has these beautiful little birds, which I knew would be great. Then you're just going to get that mold, and you are going to pop those little babies right out. I'm going to clean up the edges of them. I just wanted them to look a little cleaner. Now, while these are still wet, I paint mine. I don't know if you're supposed to do it or not, but that's how I do. So I am going to paint them with that ballerina pink, and then I am going to set them aside, let them dry. Once they dry, I'm going to come in with a gray wax and dust that over my birds. That way all of the little details, and let me tell you, there are tons of details in these tiny birds. It's insane. So then taking my Star-Bond glue, I'm going to attach those to the side. I was having such a difficult time holding these. Yeah, that one plopped right down. But look at that little added touch. For me, it is all about details. Like just that little extra step can take something from that's so cute to, oh my gosh, that's gorgeous, I need it in my house. So you guys, that is it for this one. It turned out absolutely gorgeous. It is one of my favorites out of this video. That crackle effect is gorgeous. The gray and the pink, the simplicity of it. And I think your mom would definitely get the message with this wood sign. So I hope you enjoyed it. All right, for this DIY, we're going to start out with this Goodwill box. It was $3.99, and I loved it because when it opens, the top actually stays propped open. So with all old things, I cleaned it off very well. Then I'm going to grab shellac, and I'm going to give this a good coat of shellac. This is going to block any of the tannins, oils, all of that stuff from coming through. While that dries, I grab my IOD molds. And now I'm going to dust this mold with some cornstarch. That's going to help the air dry clay not stick to our silicone molds. Now, I read every one of your guys' comments, and you guys have taught me a lot about using air dry clay. And one was to essentially just push it in and use my finger to flatten the back out and pull it around like the edges. And I will say this works so much better. It's easier than using the rolling pin. So thank you very much for the tips and tricks you guys have left in my comments for using these. So I'm going to make a couple of these. I think we're going to make 4 or 5 of the molds. And I am just going to flip my mold upside down. And as you see, they kind of like pop out on their own. I'm giving them a little bit of help. Sorry if you guys hear Hank. Kids are outside playing. And then to smooth, usually I use a craft knife, but you all said just use your finger to smooth those rough edges down. So that's what I did here, and it worked just as well. So while these are still damp, the clay that is, I am going to grab my Star-Bond super glue, and I am going to adhere these to the eggs. Now, something I did learn was the first 2 that I applied to the eggs, the clay was very thick. And then as I started making more of them, I started thinning out the backs of my molds so that they weren't so thick, and then they formed so much better to my eggs. So you can see I'm just kind of lightly pressing down, forming that to our eggs. Now this is one that I said, like I went thinner on the back and it was like flawless, and it's even bigger than the first two that I did. So you'll see like it just molded. Oh, I love it. And again, these are Iron Orchid molds. I will leave, Vonda sends me mine. I will leave her website down in the description box. And I'll try leaving the direct link to these molds on her website if she has them in stock. So again, all right, now where are we going? Okay, so now I'm getting our eggs. I am getting some, these are just like branches from florals that I've picked off along the way. This is gonna, one, make it easier to paint them and dry them, and two, we'll already have them set up to stick into our box. So I'm using beadboard by DIY. I get this from upcycledbybrie.com. And I am going to go ahead and I give the eggs 2 coats of this paint. And I did that because they did have speckles on them and I didn't want the speckles to show. So make sure you're hitting the clay as well, or else it'll show up as 2 different whites. Next, I take this gray wax that my amazing subscriber Nancy sent me recently. Comment down below if you know a comparable one down in the comments, you guys. This one is actually from Canada, so I don't think a lot of us can get it. But you can see I'm just using my stencil brush and I'm lightly coating this on, and it's just going to let all of those details pop right out of those molds so you can really see every detail. All right, now moving on to our box while all of that dries, I am going to paint the inside of this box with elephant gray. I chose to do that because it was kind of like a cherry wood color, and I knew it would take like 3 coats of paint just to get this white. So the inside I do with elephant gray. Then I'm going to go on the inside edges. I'm just kind of following where the different colors were previously. And then I'm going to do 1 coat of that, again, beadboard by DIY, on all of the outside of this box. I only do 1 coat because I kind of want to see it had like a texture on it. I wanted to see that. So I coated the inside lid with white wax by DIY. I also do the bottom. Don't know why I did the bottom, you guys. And then taking my finger, I get that gray wax and I go on all of the raised edges. I didn't want to do it with a paintbrush because I didn't want it on every single piece of white that was showing. I just wanted it on those raised edges. So using my fingers worked out perfectly for me. So next I'm going to get some styrofoam. I do glue it to the bottom. Next, ta-da! I swear like all of my DIYs have Spanish moss now, so make sure you're stocked up. And I'm going to get that Spanish moss and I'm going to put it around the block. And I got that block at Dollar Tree, Spanish moss at Dollar Tree. And I am then going to, I'm going to start adding my eggs, and then I'm going to add some leaves. And then as I'm like, I keep adding, I'm like, oh, it needs more. So then I get this baby's breath from Dollar Tree. And then I add those to our box as well. I just wanted this to look super full and elegant. And I am blown away by how this turned out, you guys. Look at how stunning this is. Look at the birds, the rose. Look at her in the pendant. Oh my gosh. I am obsessed with this piece. I always do things with the intention of you're going to sell this in your booth, and then it turns out and I'm like, how can I let go of this? It's absolutely stunning. Okay, so this one I saw Teresa from Our Green Acres. I will leave her channel down in the description box. I saw her make some of these and I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to try this. So I am taking Dollar Tree tote bags here. I'm going to do 2 total. And I am cutting the back off because I just want the plain side of our tote bag. I'm taking our pizza pan, tracing them out, and then I will cut that circle out. Now you can use sweaters, you could use tea towels. I mean, you could seriously use anything. This, I liked the color of it, so that's why I was like, ooh, the tote bag is gonna work perfectly. Then taking a pillow from Wally World, I am going to use the polyfill out of that. I think it's more cost effective that way too. Anyways, I'm going to take a grocery bag. You're going to have to play around with the size here. You're going to have to like take some out, put some in, take some out. It took me a little bit here, but it looks easier than it is because you have to keep playing around with it. But once I find the size, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to tie a knot in my grocery bag, and then we are going to gather up our fabric here. This is what was like hard. It was like, oh my gosh, come on, get in there. There we go. All right, gathering it up. Then I'm going to take some Dollar Tree twine, easy peasy, right? We're going to tie that around the neck of our pumpkin. I'm going to double knot that. Make sure it is good and tight. I mean, it's so tight I even broke, yep, there we go, part of the twine off. I'm so strong. All right, so now I'm gonna do these stamps. So this is what Teresa on Green Acres does, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to try that. So I'm gonna lay it on the pumpkin, and then we are just simply going to press down, and this will flatten out the pumpkin and allow us to kind of like press in that stamp and look at, I mean, this came out so clean and so good. I was pretty shook by it. So then I add some of that lace that I didn't use from our wood pumpkins. I grabbed some more of the flowers, and then I'm going to hot glue that onto this pumpkin. So cute. No, I do the flower, and then I end up making a finger bow with some twine because the second flower just was not working for me. So I thought, you know what, we could still make this shabby chic and rustic by adding some twine. Twine fixes everything, okay? So anywho, here we go. I'm gonna wrap that around. I do it quite a few times. Then I am going to, you could see it's like nice and it's full and it's so cute. And then I just put it at an angle so it fits well with our flower. And then our second one, you guys, again, I do the same thing, cut it out, fill it. Then I ran out of grocery bags. How does somebody run out of grocery bags? So I use a lunch bag. Okay. I put the polyfill, and then I have this beautiful spindle that I'm like, oh my gosh, it's going to work so perfect for a stem. So I put that spindle in there, gather up our fabric. Then I'm going to take the twine once again. We'll go ahead and tie that around the neck of our fabric and our spindle. Then I just kind of gather some twine up. I just wanted them to kind of like hang down, nothing special, no fancy bow or anything. Tie that off in the middle, and I'm going to attach that with some hot glue to the front of my pumpkin. Well, no, first I do the stamp, I believe. Okay, so then I take the stamp again. I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to place it, then flatten it out and press that stamp. I use gray with this one. Oh, these look so dang cute. Goodness gracious. And then, of course, I was missing some fabric, so I had to tie it again. That's going to happen, right? This would look so cute with like these striped fabrics, like with these. Oh, so cute. All right, so now I'm just adding my little details. I put some thicker jute cord on and then kind of like unravel it so it looks frayed and more full. And after that, I'm going to, I believe, add some flowers. Yes, here are my Dollar Tree Sola wood flowers. I do three. I think I do 3. And y'all, let me know if you're going to make these. And again, I will attach our Green Acres channel down in the description box for you. But look at how stinking cute. The spindle one is, of course, my favorite. And look at that blue on this fabric. How gorgeous is that? Oh my gosh, I love these. Bamboo boards from Dollar Tree. We're going to go ahead and cut this baby open. And you could use like just regular wood, like 1x8s, 1x6s. Possibilities are endless. Then I'm going to, again, I'm going to do one in white and one in cashew. And I am just doing a messy like paint job on these. Now I do hit the sides, but I don't do the bottom. And I don't know why I didn't do the bottom because y'all know that I always love myself a finished product, but I don't know why I did it. Anyways, I wish I would have done the bottom. So now I'm gonna do, what do people call these? The grain sack stripes? Something like that. You guys, I saw it on YouTube, so I'm doing it. Okay, so now I'm just eyeballing and spacing these out. I'm going to take Still Gray by Waverly. I'm gonna give that a coat. And essentially we're just creating stripes. I'm going to dry those down, pull up our painter's tape, and you have some beautiful straight stripes right in the middle. Now I am going to take my, I'm going to take my stamp. I think I'm using the blue, which is absolutely gorgeous. Okay, I'm using the blue stamp for this one. And then again, just press it down, and then I put the whole dang board in the ink. And let me tell you guys, I had to sand that down because that ink does not come off. No, it does not. So here I go, pressing it down, holding it with one hand, pressing it in with the other, and then I will lift that up. Look at that blue. Yes, ma'am. And then, of course, I clean it off with my baby wipe. So now I'm taking these. These are called finial toppers or something like that. I got them. They're an 8-pack at Walmart. They're actually by the brand Plaid. And it comes with 8. 4 bigger ones, 4 smaller ones. So I'm just dressing them with white. I am going to set them on our riser here and then apply our Star Bond to our little legs. And you guys, I like picked this up and dropped it just to make sure it was secure. And this was not moving anywhere. You can definitely take your nail gun if you wanted to and put some small nails through the top. But I was feeling super confident that these would be a-okay if somebody happened to drop them. And then of course we got to touch up. See, I feel like it looks unfinished because the bottom isn't finished, even though it's nice. I don't know. Okay, so I just wanted to show you, I'm literally doing the same exact thing, but taking cashew, painting the front, the back, and then at first I thought I was gonna do like a book page cover, and I don't know, it didn't happen. So I'm gonna paint some white stripes on this one. I do sand this down to distress it a bit. Then I'm going to take the gray ink for this one. This is what's fun, you guys, with the different color inks and stuff. You could really like change them up. You can make it fit your decor. So yeah, I really liked the gray color with this cream and the white together. There we go. And it's not like a stark black, you know? So here we go, you guys. Can't wait to show you these little risers. They were so darn easy to make. I am going to put these in my booth for sale, and I hope everybody loves them as much as I do. Look at that blue. Isn't that gorgeous, and all that detail in the stamps? I love them.
So as a crafter, when we did our flooring in our house, of course, all those little extra pieces, I told my husband, you better hold on to those. So I'm trying to actually find a use for them. So here's one of them. So with this flooring, I'm going to take DIY paints in White Swan, I believe it is. And it's a beautiful stark white color. I'm going to do one messy coat. I'm going to let that dry. And you guys know, wasn't I just talking about how I was trying so hard to decoupage? Well, here we are. And thank you. This napkin either came from Sabricia or Nikki or Holly. So thank you, either one of you. Thank you so much. So when I decoupage, if you're going to be cutting a lot of little intricate pieces, make sure you peel the 2-ply first. And I do end up doing that because I have like a little bit of the stems and all of that. So I'm going to peel back the 2-ply now. Then I am going to take my scissors and cut as close to the image as possible. Now, I am not a decoupage master by any means. This is just how I do it. If you do want a decoupage master, check out the DIY Struggle. She is amazing at decoupaging. So I'm going to cut as close to my image as possible. And then once I am done with that, I am going to take Liquid Patina by DIY, and I am going to do this in sections. So as you can see, I'm lifting my napkin up, and then I am tapping it. Yes, I know that you could use clear saran wrap, all of that stuff. This is just how I do. Okay, you do you, I do me. And then I will flip up the top of the image and apply some more of that liquid patina. Now, liquid patina for DIY is a decoupage medium. It could be used as a clear, and I like this because of the consistency. It's a little bit thinner than Mod Podge, and I prefer the way it also dries down. All of that I get at upcycledbybrie.com. So I am going to finish this off. I'm going to let my image completely dry, then take a sanding block and sand off the excess. Now that it's dried, I'm going to take that liquid patina once again, and I am going to go over the entire board now, not just the decoupage. We want, sorry, I do my voiceovers on my computer and notifications come through, and I'm sorry about it. So I'm going to do it over the entire board and clear this out. I love the way these pumpkins came out, and you wouldn't even know that it was a napkin. Now I'm going to take my IOD stamps. I believe these are called the letterpress. I get them at thepaintedheirloom.com. And I am using, again, a kitchen cutting mat and then my measuring mat from Dollar Tree to help me line up my stamps. Now, the stamps that I'm using are kind of rustic, like they're supposed to look kind of faded, I guess you could say. And when I was applying my ink, I applied way too much, and I pressed a little too hard, so it was a learning curve. So the next ones are going to look better. So you can see I lined those up on my mat. I'm going to find my placement, and then I'm going to press it down. And I'm not going to show you guys like every single line of letters because that would be forever, but you get the concept here, okay? And then after that, I, look at that. Ooh, I had a little bit of smearing. I mean, not much. After I'm done with all my stamping, I do take it outside and put 2 coats of clear matte by Rust-Oleum on there. This is what it looks like after it's done. I thought the stamping was something different instead of using, vinyl. So after that, I was going to use a sawtooth hanger, but this flooring was way too thick. So I just went with the nautical rope. Hot glue holds it up really well. And this is how it turned out. I love this. And it gives me an idea on what I could do with all of that flooring in our garage. I love that napkin. It's so beautiful. And the stamps, I feel like, make it seem handmade, So let me know. Look at that glossiness and that dandruffness. What do y'all use for dandruff? Oh my gosh. Rocking the grays, girl, except don't rock the dandruff. Don't rock the dandruff. Let's see if we can make this like nasty, greasy hair work. I don't know how people do the messy look. Like those beach waves, like it looks like I didn't brush my hair. Like that's what it looks like. And then whew, okay. No. That was a good one. That was good. You guys, you know how tiny my wrists are? My wrists are so tiny. I was able to take my Ana Luisa necklaces and wrap them around my wrist 3 times. That's how small they are because Everett gave me a princess necklace and of course it was broken. So Dad has to fix it. Okay, anyway. That was long. That's okay. I'm digging this flannel, man. Look at this color. It's a little short on me for being a size large, but I think once I lose some weight going into the gym, it's gonna look super cute tied up or something, you know. Back again with a different backdrop, but I'm hiding because we hang all of our sunglasses right there. And I couldn't get a good shot of like the bottom. See, look at how cute and pretty that is, except for my shoes and my grocery list. Other than that, okay. And those yellow look great with all this pink. What are you looking at, bro?
and leave it. It's like, I didn't want anything. There that lady is. Okay. Welcome back to Unicorn Dust. I don't like that. I feel like my face is getting rounder. Getting rounder, so I'm getting bigger. Botox. I just want this. I think everybody wants that, okay? Yeah, look at that. Like, did I used to look like that? Okay, anyway. You look good, girl. Stop it. Okay. Okay. You guys, we're doing a costume change. It's not a big one. You guys, if you're pregnant, if you know someone that's pregnant, if you have a daughter that's pregnant, a granddaughter that's pregnant, look at these. Look at these leggings. I got them on a flash deal on Amazon. Oh look, I still have to tag. $10.99 each. Gosh, look at how big my bump's getting. I bought 7 of them, hoping. It is so hard to find bottoms that fit while you're pregnant, and I'm obsessed with them. They are the most comfortable pants that I have had on since being pregnant. Like, they're amazing. Okay, not much of a change, but I mean, it's enough, right? But seriously, these things are freaking amazing. All right, let's get into this. What do you want? Besides getting your drool, you just drink water. Show you how I'm going. No. Today I want to show you how. I felt like I was like going cross-eyed there for a second. Oh. You know. It is 8:19 on Monday morning. John has the baby. And I actually need to get to work. But already John said, I started folding socks and putting socks together. And he's like, what are you doing? I said everything I'm not supposed to be doing. He goes, and this is why you don't get work done, huh? And I was like, well, it has to get done. So I do it in pockets, you know? Like, I'll go flip the laundry. I'll go put away the dishes. And then it's like work actually ends up being the last thing I do. So there's, yeah. Not a peanut. All right, we need to film this. I went out in the sun yesterday. Does it show? I got a new sports bra. It's actually white now instead of brown. Oh no. Mommy has to see what?
Everybody wants me to wear my hat like this.
Oh, that looks so good, Daddy. You guys are silly.
It's gonna make me some waffles.
All right, let's do this. Got my energies. Okay. Maybe so we don't see. I really need to change the background. I'm gonna do like a background haul or a makeover. This is too bright. I feel like too plain, but you can't hang anything on this, really. I should have turned this around the other way so the slats I could actually hang. That would have been ideal. Okay. Oh, wait. Oh, that was pretty dang good. All right. All right. I don't mean
trying to do that, but I'm trying not to get this lipstick all over. Okay.